Welcome to another edition of Around the Ice podcast, brought to you by Fantasy and Frames. I'm your host, Brian Toast Clark, and joining me tonight is our regular co-host, the man, Aaron Tomatich, to Around the Ice podcast. JT has the night off, but thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We're in week 9 of our fantasy hockey matchups. And Aaron, I am a little shocked that it's already week 9, and I'm already shocked the fact that we're already going to week 14 in football, and we're one more week in football until we actually get into most of our playoffs and stuff. But we're getting into it, man. Week 9, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Every year it seems to go by a little bit faster. I know we just got over American Thanksgiving. It's usually a good, and I think we said this last year about this time. This is a good litmus test. Like a lot of teams are in a spot now that, I mean, there is going to be some movement. There are going to be some teams that don't make the cut. Those wild card spots on both East and West are highly contested, so we might see some shifts, but a lot of times, a lot of the teams that are in a playoff spot stay in this playoff spot before the Thanksgiving, and so it's funny. We'll have to take note and see what the standings look like now, to see if that rings true again this year. I anticipate it will. But to your point, yes, it goes by week 9. I know we the NHL season is a bit of a grind. I'd say probably January to February is a bit of the doldrums, but we have the Olympics, so we kind of don't have the doldrums this year, in my opinion. But football just breaks my heart every year because you wait most of the year for it, and college is winded down. We just had the Ohio State Michigan game. That's usually the telltale sign when that game starts, and it just seems like right around the corner you got the Army Navy game, and then it's all done. So but hey, go Bears. They're finally 8-3, but they just got ahead of the score differential, so it's a thin 8-3, but I'll take it. It's been fun to be a Chicago sports fan finally with the Hawks, and they're kind of resurgent. That Anaheim game is a lot of fun. I know they got a game coming up tonight, so it's been good to be a Chicago sports fan, which probably in the last 10 years that's been a rough go to say that.
Yeah, Aaron, I'll have to remind you too. They'll be taking a win away from the Bears. We're 9-3.
Oh, you're right.
Hey,
I'm not used to that crooked number on the front number.
You're not. You're not. And you mentioned something that we can chat about briefly here before we actually get into our first segment. But really, I went and actually asked Grok and ChatGPT this week, hey, teams that are in a playoff position at December 1st, what's the percentage they actually make the playoffs traditionally? And it spit back out and said 78% of the time. 78% of the time, if you're in a playoff position, even a wild card, you're going to make the playoffs. And we know it's going to be a lot of movement. We know that 78%, that 22% of the teams that actually aren't making it, that comes from your teams that are basically just hanging on as actually division leaders, or they're actually just hanging on to a wild card spot right now, right? But being a Hawks fan, and there's been some, like with a young team, ups and downs and whatnot, more ups this year, and we're definitely on the right trajectory. Just curious, right? I mean, will we be buyers at the deadline? Will they be at all at the deadline? And the deadline's far away, right? The deadline's what, March?
Yeah.
So we're on there. We got a while yet before the deadline, but there's a lot of UFAs, not as many there was at the beginning of the season. A lot of them have been signed, but there's still some UFAs. There's some guys that have actually been rumored to be moved. A lot of the Buffalo guys are rumored to actually be potentially being shopped. And whether or not that's actually true or not, I don't know. But it's going to be for an exciting time, right? So, and that's always going to impact your fantasy season as well. Who's going to be picked up by whom? Which line are they going to play with? So if you think you actually have the guys figured out now, and you think you have these players predicted on specifically who they're going to be playing with and how many minutes they're going to be getting and how much time on ice and all that, it all could change in a drop of a hat, right? In a drop of the puck, it could change. So Aaron, let's go ahead and get into our first segment here. We need to talk a little bit of betting before we end up getting into Around the Ice.
With the money. You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
So we have 2 late games tonight, and that's usually this segment here. We'll talk about the games that have yet to start, so that way our listeners can go ahead and get a bet in here. Again, Aaron mentioned we got the Blackhawks, 11-9-5, traveling to Vegas. I would say maybe I wouldn't say a scuffling Vegas, but nevertheless, maybe not the Vegas we actually expected. They're 11-6-8. Only 6 losses in regulation, pretty good or whatnot. But that's a 10 p.m. Eastern start on ESPN Plus. Vegas is a minus 285 on that one, Aaron, and also the over under is 6. So, did you have any bets that you actually like, whether it be game lines, any player props for this game tonight?
Yeah, I threw again. I'm going to go kind of middle of the road. It's not going to be crazy, but well, I guess in a sense it is. I put together a 3-leg parlay. I've got Vegas on the money line. I think they will. That's pretty heavy favorites.
Yeah.
Blackhawks seem to be, they'll play kind of up and down. They play really well. They're really kicking it in another gear. Referred to the Anaheim game earlier. I'll refer to it again. Coming off that game, maybe there's a little bit of a rebound. Vegas plays good, plays well in their own barn. Hawks have mixed results there. So I'm going Vegas money line. I've got Frankie Nazar a point. I think he's due. He's been getting the power play time. I've got Dorofeyev an anytime goal. So anytime you pull those goals, those anytime goals, those first goals, whatever, it always ups the boost. So I threw that name in there. He's been on a dry spell lately, hasn't gotten a goal. The only reason I know that, I've got him on a team, one of my fantasy teams, so I follow him pretty closely. With Mark Stone being back, it seems like he's a little bit more set him up for the power play. The Hawks have been taking some penalties lately, so I like Dorofeyev as an anytime goal. Anyway, you add those all 3 up, you got a plus 525, which is a nice little bet. A little $5 bet. It's just get some scratch for the games, because now we had the Thanksgiving last week, and everybody stacked the games the night before Thanksgiving, the night after Thanksgiving. So now is the schedule, the NHL schedule, kind of balances itself right before Christmas break. This week might be a little bit lighter on the bets, because we don't have the jam-packed Tuesday agenda and the jam-packed Saturday games. We will, but once we get back to that, I tend to take this week and make maybe a little bit lighter bets. But that's what I got for tonight, and I can't wait to. I know I just said Vegas money line. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Hawks pick up the road win. That'd be a great way to kick it off. But I like money too, so I think I got to make the smart decision here, not bet with the brain, not with the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aaron, I'm with you. It'll be a tough game for the Hawks to win here tonight on the road at Vegas. So I really like a Jack Eichel assist. And the reason I like a Jack Eichel assist is because, one, he's great, but also, two, the fact Mark Stone's back. And Stone's actually played 3 more games since he's got back from injury. He hadn't played since October 18th. And Stone actually has 2 goals and assists and a 3-game point streak in the 3 games he's been back since he's come back. Now, 2 of those have actually yielded a loss. So they did get off the schneid and actually win 4-3 versus San Jose here. But if you look back, Mark Stone, he scored a point in his last 10 games, even though that dates back to the beginning of the season, right? So he's actually played 9 games, and he scored a point in every game. So I like a Mark Stone point tonight. I like a Jack Eichel assist, and I do think this makes the over 5.5. As good as Vegas usually is in their own building, good goaltending as well. Carter Hart's actually going to make his season debut. It's been kind of, let's just say, riddled with controversy, right? His career. But he actually, they're just dying for a goalie. They've had so many injuries at the goalie position, and Hart's going to make his season debut here. That kind of worries me. I say worries me. That's why I like the over 5.5. The Hawks actually coming off, scoring some goals. Bedard's been an every other point type of guy as far as lately. It's been the last 8 games. It's been multi-points in every other game and then zeros attached to that here. This could definitely be a 0 night potentially. Vegas is super good in their own building. So I like that. That's a plus 180, a Jack Eichel assist, a Mark Stone point, and over 5.5. That's a plus 180. I mean, if you did add the Vegas money line like you did there, I don't think that would push that too much. It would definitely push it over plus 200. But I'm going to roll with that tonight, and we'll check in on that as the night goes on here for sure. So, and then the other game, Aaron, that we actually have tonight on the card, that's at 9 o'clock again. So get your bets in here. Is Washington Capitals, and really a really good Washington Capitals team right now. Visits the LA Kings. That's a 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time start, and you got LA a minus 118, so basically a pick 'em, and it's an over 5.5, which is no surprise there. Those two teams actually playing an over 5.5. You expect that if you wanted to buy a half a goal and go the under, you definitely could. But Aaron, is there anything you actually like in this game before we actually talk a little bit Capitals and Kings?
I didn't put anything on. I know the Kings, they were horrendous at home at first. All their wins were on the road. They've kind of turned it around. They've almost got back to 500 at home. So they're playing better at home. What I contemplated was just, go again, starting with the money line on Vegas or on Washington, excuse me. Washington, an above 500 team on the road, and I was trying to put something together with them and Ryan Leonard. Ryan Leonard, I know we'll kind of touch on him in an upcoming segment, but he's just he's been really fun to watch. I know Jorge's our resident Caps guy, but I've got a connection to the Caps as well, so I watched quite a few of their games. It's mm-hmm. Every game you're seeing improvement. You're seeing more ice time. You're seeing him, skate with high level. Whether it's Strome, it's Ovi, it's he's put on the ice in critical situations. So I followed his college career. Got him on again a couple of fantasy teams. That always brings that bond closer to some of these guys that maybe you don't always watch, but when you have them on your fantasy team, you tend to tune in. But that said, I didn't find anything I really liked with that. But long way to say no. But I like where you're at with what you had called out there with your bets.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Aaron. All I actually had was the under on this. If you wanted to go ahead and buy the half a point and go to the under 6, you could probably get it like at minus 130, minus 135, somewhere around there. That's about the only thing I see here. These two teams tend to play a vanilla type of hockey, right? A brand. So I would imagine that it's going to be no different tonight. If you were going to stay up for the 9:30 Central game and watch the Capitals versus King, which it probably won't actually start until 9:45, you better be a fan of those two teams. That, or you better just be a degenerate gambler, one or the other, right? Because I'm probably not staying up for that game. It could be like watching paint dry. But we'll get to a couple of the Capitals players here in a bit because they've been fun. They've been a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, hey, we've talked a little bit of gambling here. We got everybody ready for the 9 o'clock and the 9:30 game starting at Central Time. Let's go ahead and go around the ice, Aaron.
Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
All right, let's go ahead and drop the puck here in the Stars versus Rangers game. They're currently in overtime. A minute in overtime. It's a 2-2 tie. And the big news here is, again, Mikko Rantanen and Wyatt Johnston actually get on the scoring here in the third period there to give Dallas a 2-1 lead. But then Will Cooley with a Vinny Trocheck assist and Artemi Panarin assist. Will Cooley gets on the board to make it 2-2. And actually, what you know it right here, it looks like with a minute 9 into overtime, the New York Rangers actually pull off the win. Gavrikov actually at overtime. And you get Artemi Panarin with an assist and Mika Zibanejad, who's been a hot Mika Zibanejad of late as well. But, Aaron, I'm going to just mention about this game here real quick. I wish I actually had a whole lot to say about the Rangers, but I actually don't. But, boy, Dallas, from a fantasy perspective, man, they've been putting up some points. And really, Robertson, he's leading the charge right now. Rantanen, Wyatt Johnston, and really, even Tyler Seguin's got in there a little bit as well. They have got it rolling. They've got it rolling right now. Rupe Hintz has been in the middle of that too. That top line, we've always kind of known that they've actually rolled off really good 4 lines. But from a fantasy perspective, they're real top heavy, right? Where they'll kill you, especially if you have those stacks. So, but interesting. We'll talk maybe a little bit about, or we can talk about it now. I don't care. Jason Robertson, who and his RFA year is actually coming up here. His contract's up. He's setting the world on fire right now. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, the dude can't miss. I caught the Dallas game. Who escapes me? Who they actually played now, but it was on Sunday. And Robertson had somebody on the back end of the net. Can't remember who. It would have been an easy tap in. Well, he elects to shoot it, so it's basically turned into a 2-on-1. Defender went to go play the pass. Guy was still open, could have just easily tucked it in. Seemed like a no-brainer pass. Well, the goalie kind of leaned that way, expecting the pass. And what did he do? He rocketed over a goalie's shoulder, scored top shelf, just absolutely sniped. Point is with that is when you're playing with confidence and you're scoring as many goals as this guy is scoring, you're a shoot first guy. Whether you really are a shoot first or you're pass first, doesn't really matter. When you're zipping that puck in like he is, man, you're looking at that net and he's doing it and he's pulling it off. I mean, I would say up to this year, again, third time I've said this. I realize we're, 16 minutes in, and I'm saying this for a third time, but there's another guy I've got on a team. So I pay very close attention to him. I had him for a number of years on our home league, our dynasty, full dynasty, non-salary league. But I've got Robertson on there, and I was a little disappointed when Braden Point went. No, I took Robertson right before Braden Point. And last year I kind of regretted it. This year, Braden Point's been dead quiet. I don't know what's going on, if he's battling through something. But
yeah,
to your point, Robertson's just been on fire. He's lit the world on fire. He cannot be stopped. So now I'm not so sad about that anymore. But yeah, and then to your main point about Dallas. And Dallas has had injuries. They've had defensemen going down. Harley's been out. Bichelle, I don't know, still don't know what happened. He went into the boards in this game. Again, I was watching him on Sunday, went into the boards, didn't look like anything, but man, his pain, the pain in his face was horrible. I had to walk him off the ice, and it looked long-term, but they've had some injuries on their defense, but their defense isn't slowing down. Excellent goaltending out of Ottinger, excellent backup goaltending out of DeSmith. They'll probably run into Colorado at some point, hopefully not in the first round like it was last year, because that's just a joke. I mean, those two powerhouse Stanley Cup contenders just beat the piss out of each other, but look out. I mean, I'm if I'm the West and I'm not on that team, I'm really, I'm really looking at it. And Ben, the captain, he signed that team friendly deal. It kind of feels like this is the last. And I could be wrong. This might not be, because they're not that old either, but it might be one of the I'd have to look at the salaries, I guess, before I commit too far to this comment. But if this isn't the last run with this core group, then maybe they've got 2 years at best. So the clock is ticking. Like you said, Jason Robertson, an RFA, so he's going to be, pulling in some money. They're probably not going to give him a bridge. I would anticipate they give him a long term, but I don't think he's going anywhere. They're playing great hockey. They lost tonight, but like you said, the Rangers, I didn't realize, and you mentioned Cooley, that was his 8th goal. I didn't realize many goals. So good for him. I like the guy. I like Will Cooley. If there's one thing about the Rangers I like, it's him. The rest of them suck, but good on him. I didn't realize he had that many into this year.
Yeah, and recently Dallas had won 4 in a row coming into this, and 5 of 6 coming into tonight's game, and they've been rolling on the top line. Ben, Johnston, Rantanen, line 2, Robertson, Hentz, Sagan. So one factor there has actually been you haven't had a healthy Matt Duchene, and when Duchene actually comes back, he'll actually send in one of these lines. Excuse me, I've just been dealing with a cold here lately, but I'll have a little sip here to help out with that. But it's helped out for Wyatt Johnston, because Wyatt Johnston, even last year, as good as he is, they kind of tinkered with him. They would actually put him down on center line 3, and maybe power play 2, and Johnson's got to be up there to stay, I would imagine, regardless. Duchene's actually an older player. When he comes back, he'll probably slot into C3 there, but let's talk about Robertson real quick while we're actually on this game. Just because I do want to chat about this. As Aaron, you mentioned, pending RFA this year, 26 games played, 16 goals, 19 assists, 109 shots on goal. That's close to 4 shots a game. 26-year-old. So having over 20 minutes of time on ice a game. I think he will actually make Team USA. I don't really know how he doesn't at this point here. He led in November. He led the NHL in goals, points, shots on goal, and he was second in power play points as well for the entire month of November. Remember, Jack Eichel was the leader in October and everything. Jason Robertson was the leader in November. But I look at this. I look at the next salary or the contract situation actually coming up. I'll be honest with you, Aaron. I really don't know how they actually signed him. And him being an RFA, I get it, but let's let me real quick, and I don't want to make this whole Dallas show, and I know we actually have a little bit of time here, but I just want to mention something about this here with the cap, especially if you're in cap leagues. Ranton's got a $12 million tag. Sagan's still got 2 more years at 9.85. Rupe Hentz, 8.4. He ain't going nowhere. White Johnson, 8.4. He ain't going nowhere. Then you actually have Robertson at 7.75, an expiring deal on RFA. Like, okay, maybe from the forward group, you can still actually fit him in here, especially with the cap going up. Well, Heiskanen, 8.4. Lindell, 5.2. And then here's the big one. Harley, next year, 10.5 goes into play as well. And then Ottinger, 8.2. I just don't know where you're going to find the money to actually sign him. Now, they could actually get cute with the cap and actually maybe buy out a Matt Duchene. You know, he's got, after this year, he's got 3 or more years left at $3.8 million. You don't have any other really bad contracts. I know like Tyler Sagan would like to get out from underneath that as well. But and you do actually also have it looks like 3 more other RFAs. Maverick Bork is one of them. Ben's going to be a UFA as well. He made us end up walking. He's old. But you've got a lot of players to sign. All I'm saying is I'm not sure how Dallas is going to do this. You're going to have to get really, really cute with the cap. That's all. So, but it'll be interesting to see what Jason Robertson does. In the event that they don't think they can move him, there's no way they're going to move him during the season, especially if they're rolling like this. They're just going to let him play it out, and they'll actually see what happens in the offseason. They actually have the rights to him, and they may end up just letting that expire and basically let him become a UFA and sign with somebody else. Time will tell. So, but it's going to be really, really interesting to see what that does. But I was just shocked on how many big contracts they actually had on that team. And I guess I shouldn't be shocked because they're a loaded team, right? They're loaded. But they're already – the Thomas Harley one hurts, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Harley's not a good player. He's a very, very good player. But 10.5 kicking in when you got a pending Jason Robertson actually coming up, like they didn't really do a good job saving a lot of money back for him if I'm Robertson.
That's a really good point. I didn't know they were in that much of cap hell. I mean, they're quickly turning into the Maple Leafs with we're very, very top heavy, and then you're just hoping that the talent at your bottom 6 is there to keep the wheels on, so to speak. I know talent wise, Dallas has done a great job of developing within. You're going to have to say that about every team now with how these superstars are re-signing, or they'll get traded and then they sign to a long-term contract, which seems to be the norm. You know, we've talked about it before. The huge UFAs on the offseason just aren't there anymore. They're sticking with their team. You mentioned it too. The cap will be going up. Again, I don't know a dollar amount, but I think the first thing you said about buying out Duchene, that would be my guess. I guess my question, I'll bounce it back over to you with a question. What is Jason Robertson worth per year? Like what would you pay him? Like I think a team friendly deal is $10 million a year, which is about $3 million. So that's that Matt Duchene, but I think he might be worth more in the free market.
Yeah. That's a great question, Aaron. And I would think if he re-signs with Dallas, it's got to be team friendly because they actually know they're kind of strapped and, hey, you've been here your entire career. You know we're actually super good. We're going to be competing for cups every year. What do you want to do here? We're happy to give you the 8-year deal. We're happy to actually – you're 26. That'll get you to 34, right? Yeah. We're happy to give you the 8-year deal. And we're happy to give you the more money than than Johnston. Actually, the more money than Sagan. Basically, we'll have you slot in right underneath above Sagan and right underneath Rantanen, who's making 12 mil. You're right. I'll give you the 8 per 10. Even then, they're going to have to get really, really, really savvy with the cap to make that work long term. They just got so many long term contracts. They still have a lot coming up. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. But the good thing is you have rights to them. I don't know when those rights actually go away as RFA, when the arbitration actually hearing is, and specifically if you waive that and what type of compensation you actually get in the offseason. I'm not really sure how that works, but we'll have to just keep our eyes on that because for me, I think that's the biggest free agent right now that's on the market, whether it's an RFA or UFA, and it's really not close. So, so we'll keep it close on. I think that, but if you were to go outside there, let's say Blackhawk sweater, something like that, yeah, you probably get upwards of 11 and a half, somewhere around there. So he's going to leave a little bit of money on the table if he's going to stay at Dallas. Aaron, Bruins actually going to the Red Wings tonight and actually lose a game 5-4. That was a 5-2 game. The Bruins tried to make it close. This Alex Steves guy, my brother actually picked him up. He had 2 goals tonight for Boston, number 4 and number 5 on the year as well. But this is this Detroit team from a fantasy perspective, not from but a fantasy perspective. Their big guys are starting to get it going now. With Larkin and Raymond and Kane and DeBrincat. And who's in the middle of that as Mort Seider. Mort Seider's really starting to actually put it together now. If you go back and look at his last few games, dynamite tonight, another goal, 2 assists as well. He's actually going to hit and block quite a bit as well. If you can get Mort Seider actually just moving, 4 blocks, right? 22-53 on time on ice tonight. That's what they've been waiting for. He's been fairly quiet this year, but now he's starting to actually come on. He's had a very, very good week and a half so far.
Yeah, he's closing in on 20 points. I think 4 goals, 14 assists, if they separated correctly. So, I like watching the guy. I've said this before too when I've kind of been pumping his tires of his. You mentioned it. He's a big guy. He's getting it going. Physically, I mean, he's a big guy. He plays with a mean streak. He's kind of a mean, nasty guy. Although, dude, he got it handed to him. Mark Kastelik, who is a fighter, just absolutely destroyed him in a really, really. It was a TKO. I mean, he didn't fall asleep but he took that hard right hand right at the very end of that fight. Again, this was over the weekend and just got laid out. So he's not a fighter, but everything else he can do. So I like Mo Seider a lot, and I used to always kind of categorized last superstar because I think you covered everybody there on the wings. I always thought Lucas Raymond as a shoot first kind of guy. He's been passing the puck a lot. He's got a lot of assists this year, a lot of helpers so far, which he usually goes at it half and half, or an assist here, a goal there, but he's really picked up his assists. So again, good on him for what he's been doing too.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kastelik there as well tonight. If you're in a Bangers league, and I actually did pick him up in our Ultra Bangers Dynasty League as well about a week ago. 12 more PIMs tonight, which we actually count PIMs. I know that a lot of people don't like that, but we like it. It's 0.4 per PIM as well. So it's like, wow. 2 shots on goal, 6 hits, and a block as well, and a modest 12 minutes and 45 seconds of time on ice. Like, he makes his presence felt when he's actually on the ice. And if you're in a Bangers league, he's kind of perfect for that, Tim. Him and Zadorov, there's a couple goons out there. So I like him in the forward spot, especially in the Bangers. Take a look at him. Just take a look at him. And also, Aaron, I want to mention a couple of these, and please let me know if you wanted to talk about any of these teams here as we kind of go around the ice here. But the Islanders actually going to, or at home tonight, host the Lightning, get a 2-1 win. Bo Horvat gets another goal, and Horvat has been just I wouldn't say a surprise, but a surprise based on where he's actually ranked in most leagues as far as total scoring, based on his ADP. A great value pick there. It's probably a guy that's actually been going 75th or 80th overall in a lot of drafts there. He's playing like a top 15, 20 player. He gets another goal tonight. And also, I know their record is 13-9-3, but the Canadians, to me, they've been scuffling. They've just been scuffling, and I look back at their most recent games here and stuff. And, honestly, they just strike me as a team who's actually scuffling. Cole Caulfield's actually slowing down a little bit. He had 2 assists tonight. Suzuki actually has a power play goal, but man, Ottawa goes in there and they got their captain back, right? They got Brady T, they got Chucky back, and Chucky's getting some points here, and Ottawa goes in there and beats Montreal tonight, 5-2. Anything you want to add on that game?
Yeah, with Montreal, I'll just say, I'm not going to pick them apart. But I do watch a lot of their games. Again, just for the reason it's Montreal. One thing I like about Montreal too is you get on, you watch those games, and the crowd will cheer when they clear a puck. The crowd will cheer for a good line change. It's just a very hockey intelligent. I'd say by far the most intelligent fan base in the NHL. So it's always fun to watch them. So I just watch them for the fun. But yeah, I'd say the one call out I'd like to make about Montreal is just the goaltending. It's been inconsistent. Montembeault had a great year, breakout year last year. Jacob Dobish, Dobish, whatever. Dobish. He had a good end of the season last year. Started off this year pretty good. But neither one of these guys seem to be. They're losing their crease. They're letting in soft goals. They're letting in tough goals. You can't blame it all on the goalie. There's got to be some breakdowns there, but you've got a pretty good core, defensive core. Matheson just re-signed. He's having a great year. He's on the offensive side. Lane Hudson, he's definitely on the offensive side. But you got some stay-at-home guys too that they're out there blocking shots. You got the Zekai brothers now on the team, but overall, I mean, again, I can't say it's the goalie, but I'll just point that out that. From a fantasy perspective, if you have one of those two guys, or maybe you've got both of them, just you may want to look at other options right now until they get this figured out. But I mean, I'm looking down at these Canadian games, and it's all crooked numbers being given up. Some of those games they're hanging with them, but like tonight, like you said, they got dusted 5-2 at their own barn, and it's Ottawa coming into their place. You just don't see that often. But I don't know.
Yeah, I traded for Montembeault, and since I actually made a trade, I've been very disappointed. Now, I do like the trade from a dynasty perspective. He's only 26, I think, and I think his best years are ahead of him, and I think he'll actually be fine. But it's a rough start right now. Rough start to the season for them as a goaltending, and they got off such a hot start as a team, right? But they've really felt on hard times, and so we'll look for them to bounce back tonight. Also, Toronto actually goes in. It would appears actually go in and actually get a win at the defending champion Florida Panthers. Yeah, and you knew Florida would actually have some tough times. You knew as they kind of work without Barkov, without actually Kachuk as well, failing to actually score some goals here, and Reinhart actually does get them a shorty. I mean, Reinhart still actually 15 goals so far. Still, he's been good, but tonight was a night for Toronto to actually go in. I think you're going to pick up a lot of momentum from this game, considering all of their scores from tonight. It wasn't your regulars tonight. No. Austin Matthews and actually John Tavares do actually end up getting a very late goal with 19 seconds left. Tavares gets a goal. Austin Matthews would assist as well, but you're getting points from Stetcher, McMahon, Dakota Joshua as well, Lawton, Lawrence as well. So Joseph Woll actually has a very, very good game. Woll's actually starting to put it together, actually looking pretty good. So we'll have to keep an eye on that team. But I'll be honest with you, I don't have many shares of Maple Leafs players around any of my fantasy teams as well, and I'm kind of glad so far I haven't. I mean, because you haven't seen the best of Matthews. Tavares has actually been very, very good, but it just there's something missing, man. I wouldn't say they're on alert like the Oilers, but there's just something missing for there. So we'll kind of have to see next week on what type of week they have this week, and chat about that next week.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go a little harsher on the Maple Leafs. They look like dog shit. They just have not, and it's not. It's usually two aspects of the game that go wrong for them. Again, I watch a lot of Maple Leafs games. They normally play the early game, so I watch a lot of them just because I didn't see any of tonight's game, so I'll have to go back and check the highlights. Florida, and they're right there with them. So both Florida and Toronto, they're at the bottom of the East as we stand right now. And you threw out that number earlier that 78% of these teams end up where they are. That would be both of these teams being non-playoff teams. That'd be a trip. I don't know that Toronto, I'd probably be more panicked than I would be Florida, but even Florida, I'd probably at least bring it into my, go there with my mind. Like, what if we didn't, what if we don't pull it together or we don't get some of these guys back? I don't see that being a reality. I think they'll figure it out. I think they're too well coached and that team is just, I don't know. I remember, what was it, last year? I think it was, where Edmonton really went on a streak, and again they played in the Cup final. Whole nother problem there. I think they've dug themselves a hole they can't get out of. But who knows? Just again, more goaltending gripes with that club. But I don't know. It's I wouldn't have guessed in a million years Toronto would go to Florida and beat Florida, but hey, it happened. So good on them.
Yes, the battle of bad tonight. These are the two worst teams as far as records go in the East.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing to you? But the East is loaded as far as just stability from top to bottom and the parity there. Like Columbus, for example, in the Metro, they're 12-9-5 this year. They're in last place in the Metro at 29 points as well. But they're only 5 points out of number one. Right, so it's just everybody's there's all bunched up, a bunch of decent teams, and the same thing for the Atlantic as well. You actually have Toronto and Florida down there with 25 points, Buffalo with 26 points, and then basically the top 6 teams there are all separated by 5 points here as well. Pretty tight. The West looks a little bit different, but Florida, like you said, they have the experience. They actually have the coaching. They have the goaltending. They know how to get it done. It's just a matter of now. Right the ship, right? Right the ship. Don't let the wheels fall off. Stay in the race until you actually get your best player back. And then who knows? You might get lucky and get a Barkov back for the playoff run. My guess is probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen, right? But crazier things have actually happened. But Florida. And then you wonder, like, will Verhaeghe get going then too, right? Because he's been super quiet. Lundell actually had a point tonight, which is really good. But it just shows you with the Matthew Tkachuk, man, not having him, and especially a Barkov, like not many teams can actually sustain that. So they're pretty lucky right now to actually be 12-1, quite frankly, considering what they've actually had to deal with. So, and a couple other games here tonight. Oh, and I will report here. The Blackhawks and Vegas start off, and just like the last night, JT, where the Hawks give up a goal in 15 seconds, they're better tonight. They give up a goal in 45 seconds there, and it's Ivan Barbashev actually with a goal here at the 27-second mark in there, 10th of the year, and this Braden Bowman's actually kind of coming on here for Vegas. And Shea Theodore the assist as well. But and what at the 18:37 mark here, the Blackhawks actually tied up a one with an Oliver Moore goal. So that over 6 was actually looking pretty darn good. I mean, so this game we're gonna have to wrap up the pod here soon because we got a game to watch, right? But JT is I know we actually had. I'm gonna really quickly. Predators are actually beating the crap out of the Flames 5-0 at home. I did start Devin Cooley tonight at Nashville. That was a mistake. Wild are actually in the Oilers and actually beating them 1-0 almost halfway through that game in the second period, and almost halfway through the second period as well. Canucks and Avalanche are actually tied up 1-1. We can sit here and talk about these teams forever, but I feel like we should actually move on to the next segment here and actually maybe talk a little bit about our home league. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's Weekend Update with Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Well, Aaron, so I'm going to tell you, I'm 6-2. You're 6-2. Jeff Daylor's 6-2. King McCarr 6-2. Pucky Puckerson 6-2. Well, we have 5 6-2 teams, and we have JT at 5-3. Jorge started on 0-4. 0-4, right? And what do you know, Jorge now 3-5. We'll make it our leader. Make it a little bit of a push here, Jorge. So we've been giving you a lot of crap this year, saying you have no business being in a fantasy league with us, and we're going to make you look bad. We're not even going to let up a little bit at all. We're literally just going to go ahead and just we're going to give it to you. And what you've responded well. Actually, I like what you've actually done there. You're 3-5. Hang tough, my brother. You're actually going to be there at the end. So, but Aaron, I do want to talk about. We always talk about maybe some top 10 scores that maybe be surprising. In that format, that is a light bangers league. We get 0.3 for a hit, 0.3 for a block,
Mm-hmm.
0.2 for a PIM, and your traditional scoring for a goal, 4, 2 for an assist, and so on. And Tom Wilson. I mean, you've talked about Tom Wilson in the past. Tom Wilson is, if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not on your team, you probably don't like him much at all. But this is a guy that does a little bit of everything, especially in the Ultra Bangers League. He can really, really light up those type of leagues. But what a year he's actually having. I don't know if you actually want to chat about Tom Wilson here a little bit.
Yeah. Amazing year. Actually on pace to really outdo what he's done in the past, which he's come on as of late. Last couple of years, he's really made his name. Not only is he grabbing headlines for getting in fights in the playoffs on the bench and hitting people into next week and all the stuff that we all know him for, he's actually just a solid player, solid hands, solid ice time. Now his shooting percentage this year with 15 goals, 14 assists, 57 shots on goal. So 15 of those 57 shots on goal have gone in. That's a pretty high percentage at 26.3%. It's just not going to be sustainable.
Nope.
That's pretty crazy. I don't know how many people in the NHL have actually ended up a year with that high of a percentage, but it's got to be less than, the fingers on my hand. So, but again, you go back to, well, he's out there in the right situation, and you look at his time on ice, and he's rubbing elbows with 20 minutes a game. He's about 19 and a half minutes a game, which a guy like this that was maybe pigeonholed for a long time is just kind of a power forward. No, he's got the hands, he's got the moves, he's making people miss. So right now he's getting some time on the power play line, and he's on the second line. So with 5-on-5 with Sordif and Protas, Alexi Protas, who's a giant. He's soaking up some of those hits and some of the attention, allowing Wilson to get out there, who used to take that role, who used to be the big guy on the team. Protas is kind of coming in, playing that role, and taking some of the heat off of him, at least what I've seen. But yeah, I love what I see, and he's making some noise about him, actually going on Team Canada. If Team Canada is looking for somebody to hit, somebody to get some of the dirty work done. I look out. I'll be nervous. I don't want to see him play it. As a USA, obviously, I think this is our year, but I don't want to see Wilson out there. I don't want any of our boys going through the boards and ending up in the third row.
Nope.
We'll see.
Yeah. 26 games played, 15 goals, 14 assists, 54 PIMs. That's beautiful. 69 hits, 16 blocks, and 57 shots on goal. Here's what I'll say regarding Tom Wilson. If you're in a redraft league with straight points, sell high right now. I'm not saying it's because Tom Wilson's not a good player, but he's not this good. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, he's not this good, right? 26.3%. Now, if he's a bangers, you're not getting rid of him. You just enjoy the ride, right? Like I don't know, Hawks got a 2-on-1 and almost scored. So 31 years old. Tom Wilson's in his second year of a 7-year deal, 6.5 million AAV. So if you're in a cap league as well, boy, you're loving life. You're loving life right now if you're in a cap league, and I would say this is a guy you actually want to hold on to in the event that you're in a cap league, and especially if it's a categories league, right, where you actually count those hits and blocks there as well, and even PIMs, which I just love. I know people's like, that's stupid. I like it. Personally, I like it. So Tom Wilson, great start. And we also mentioned Jason Robertson as well. These are just two guys that are actually tearing up our home league here. Aaron, I don't know if you want to mention anything about your team specifically. I do know that in this home league here, we haven't made a single trade. The league hasn't made a single trade. And I'm going to change that this week. We're going to, you and I, we're going to make a deal for the right. So let's get together after the show. Let's put on a deal here. We're both 6-2. I mean, I'm leading the league in points, right? So I can help you.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm. So, but Tom Wilson, an amazing year for Washington, and so definitely. And I tell you, it's hard for me to actually watch this and do the pod and watch this game at the same time. And we're going to have to speed things up because guess what? We got some hockey to watch here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do love one thing I'll say about the home league. I do like the parity. That's a lot of teams at
Oh
6-2.
yes.
Goes to show the guys that had the hot start, myself, we've cooled off, and the guys that didn't start off so hot, like Jorge, they stuck in there, they stuck to their game plan, and now they're right there in the mix. So love the parity in this league, this inaugural fantasy and frames around the ice league that we started. So a lot of games to be played. It's anybody's game.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Aaron, let's go ahead and talk about this next week's schedule here, and let's maybe talk a little bit more fantasy.
But hey, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
That's what happened. You put an amateur at the controls here. You hit a wrong. You know what? There you go. But let's talk about this week. We'll wrap up the show here by talking about the week 9 schedule here and maybe some waiver wire pickups. So spread out schedule for this week here. I mean, you get a lot of games every single night, so it's a lot different than last week. Last week's schedule with that. This week's schedule is very, very good. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, the heavy days. And you have plenty of teams on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, right? So the schedules here, Aaron. Anaheim. We talked about Anaheim, man. The Hawks had a big game with Anaheim on Sunday. You know what chippy, didn't it? It all chippy with the Hawks and Anaheim this last Sunday here, where Anaheim goes up 3-0. The Hawks come back and win 5-3, and Bernard's actually got 3 goals, 2 assists, and talking some shit over there to McTavish there at the end of they're good buddies, I guess, and but McTavish was getting a little lippy at the face-off knot late in the game, and Bernard has been pod an empty netter and back to the bench, talking some trash, but circle that on your calendar, everybody. The Blackhawks visit Anaheim for a rematch this Sunday coming up there. But they got a great schedule: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Aaron, is there anybody you actually like to pick up from Anaheim? If not, we can always move on to the next one.
Yeah, I don't know what his percentage is. I don't know how available he is, but Troy Terry's been playing pretty well.
Yes.
He's one of those veteran guys. Anaheim right now, it's all the kids that are making the headlines, and rightfully so. These guys have been playing amazing, whether it's Cutter Gauthier or it's Leo Carlson, it's Bennett Seneke, it's Olin Zellweger back on the blue line. He's been playing well. Jackson Lacombe signed for all that money. He's been playing well. They've had some injuries in net. But other than that, it's been a lot of fun to watch Coach Q do his thing with those young guys and watch Anaheim actually be competitive. When I see this, and you talked about the Hawks, I see this as I remember, again, when all those years, all the cups, we always had to go through Anaheim. We always had to face off against Getzlaff and Corey Perry, and we had that rat Ryan Kessler that played there that was just –
he was a rat.
Oh, my God. He would just go at Duncan Keith. And Duncan Keith, he could get nasty too. Those two just out ratting one another. It was nonstop. It was a lot of fun to watch. But I feel that again coming around when you touched on it. You had Bedard and Mason McTavish, excuse me, when they went at it. I'm seeing that like these are teams that probably will have to go through one another in the next 3 to 5 years when they both make playoffs. So good. Let's start it. Let's start these rivalries now. But yeah, to the point that I look at Troy Terry because he could still be out there in some of those teams, some of those leagues. I watch most Anaheim games, and even if he's not on the score sheet, I'm hearing his name a lot. So he could be a guy that's on the cusp of kind of maybe going on a little run here.
Yeah, and you talk about the whole team's on the cusp, right? They're right there. This will be the team to actually go through them, San Jose, Chicago, and you're still going to actually have Colorado will be there, but 2 years from now, like this is going to be it, and there's going to be a long haul with those teams actually being really good. But I like Chris Kreider. I picked up Kreider in one of my other category leagues there. 22 games played so far, 13 goals, 6 assists. So quietly at 19 points in 22 games there. Kreider, 17 minutes time on ice. Only 65% rostered. Of course, the 27.1 shooting percentage will come down, right? That will come down. But if you're looking for a streamer, again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, go ahead and pick up Chris Kreider. I like Troy Terry as well. Buffalo, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And Josh Doan was the one who actually I liked. He's only like 32% rostered. I think Doan's definitely a pickup. But Jason Zucker, Zucker's going to be bounced a little bit down the lineup because Josh Norris actually returned, and then Norris in his return had 2 goals and assists, if I remember right.
Yeah.
That was last night, and we all know Norris will be hurt tomorrow. So he'll be hurt tomorrow. He'll I don't know. He'll swallow a chicken bone. I have no idea what will happen, but something will happen. But Zucker has played very, very good in his absence, and he's had some injury concerns himself this year. But 14 points in 18 games, and I like the fact that he's on power play 1, only 35% rostered. So I think Zucker's a good stream, right? Aaron, we also actually have San Jose with a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday as well. Boy, we could have a whole podcast that's talking about Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard and basically what they're doing. And also, Leo Carlson, and the list goes on. But is there anybody you actually like for a pickup here to actually take advantage of San Jose's sweet ass schedule?
Yeah, I was looking around. I looked at Tyler Toffoli. Again, I'm going back to the kind of what we touched on with Anaheim, looking at the veteran guys that have availability. Will Eklund, he's likely gone in most leagues. But looking at a guy like that to see, now I haven't deep dive. I don't have the stats handy, but again, it's from so many San Jose games, hearing his name over and over. And, again, it's just one of those, you just kind of tune into that, whether it shows up on a score sheet or not is another matter. But typically before they show up on a score sheet, you hear the names, you hear the ice time, they're out there contributing. So I'd probably, again, no clue what his roster numbers. It's got to be, I'd probably guess 60% availability. So 40% rostered maybe for a guy like Toffoli, but I take a look at him.
Yeah, no, it's a great call out for Toffoli as well, and a guy who actually had a great game last night, I believe. It was a couple goals, couple assists. So just great deployment. All in all, I'd actually go out and redraft leagues and try to trade for Toffoli. I really would. I think that he'd be, especially in let's say deeper rosters where you're maybe carrying 21, 22, 23 players in your active roster, maybe 5, 6, 7 in your bench, 30, those big ones. I would love to have Toffoli. So you're normally actually maybe carrying 15, 16 players. I'm sure you can go get them if you actually wanted to, right? And if you're looking to stream a guy, go get Toffoli. I just, again, his deployment, he's only 54% rostered. I would do it. And Aaron, I'll let you talk about Ryan Leonard because you mentioned Leonard earlier, and Washington's got a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday schedule. So you could probably get Leonard for all 4 starts there. But Leonard, his stats may not jump off the paper at you, but again, he's got good deployment. I really like what I'm actually seeing out of Ryan Leonard so far.
Yeah, and I go back. Yeah, so on, like you said, on paper, he's 26 games played, 5 goals, 8 assists. Not that whatever. It's mundane. Yeah. It's typical third line type of point production. 51 shots on goal, but 38 hits. 38 hits is a little surprising. The key thing to look at for a guy like this, and a guy who has shown that he can play on the big stages, his time on ice is increasing. So again, he's in his rookie year. He's got outstanding coach and Spencer Carberry, an outstanding organization. He's had a decent his points in 3 of his last 5 games, and he's only 50% rostered. He's also getting, and this kind of surprised me until I read your notes, the show notes earlier today, that he's getting power play 1 time, and that's huge for Washington. They're very, very good power play team. They draw a lot of penalties. Ovi gets calls all the time. As well he should. He's earned it. So there are a lot of times they find themselves in the power play. The fact that this kid's getting his ice time. I would say in redraft leagues he's probably available. In dynasty leagues he's long gone. That's okay. But I would take with that kind of productivity, those many games this week, I'd definitely target this guy.
Yeah, absolutely, Aaron. And I tell you what, let's maybe talk a little bit about these games that are in play here, and we're going to wrap up the show here. But I do want to just check in around the ice a little bit one more time here before we actually wrap up.
Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
All right, so Avalanche, red hot Brock Nelson right now. And Nelson's been scoring goals over the last 3-4 games in bunches. And what do you know? Gabe Landeskog's coming to life. If you go back and actually, if you could stream Landeskog, stream him. He's starting to actually find his legs now. A guy that actually didn't play hockey for like 3 years. It was something like that. It was like Jonathan Toews-esque. But Landeskog's actually really coming on. I like what he's actually seeing. They got him with Brock Nelson tonight with the goal. Landeskog with the assist. Ross Colton there with the assist as well. You got McKinnon with a goal, and it's 2-1. 2-1, and almost the end of the second there versus Vancouver. You got to imagine that Colorado's going to come out and win this game, of course, and they're 18-1-6, and they'll go 19-1-6 here. They've only had one regulation loss, and the only team I can remember doing that in any recent time was the Hawks in the 2013 shortened season when they actually started out the season. I think was it 22-0-3. So they had 20, and so that probably will never be done again. And if it is, it's going to be unbelievably difficult. But Colorado, I mean, and if you mentioned the Hawks actually played them unbelievably tough and probably good enough to actually win their night, and they played them 1-0, right, and lost. And the Hawks actually really played Colorado, the best team in the league, probably better than anybody has this season. But Colorado's just unbelievable right now. And then Predators are going to kick the crap out of the Flames 5-1. Again, the Wild are actually still over the Oilers 1-0. We're getting ready to come on the end of the second here. And Jesper Wallstedt's actually been a wall. He's been a wall. And I tell you what, their goalies have actually been very, very good. Minnesota is actually on a roll right now. They did actually have a loss recently here, but man, they have actually been red hot. Wallstedt, just mainly because of Kaprizov's been unbelievable, but their goalie play has been great. It's been great with Gustafsson and Wallstedt. They got a great thing going right there. If you can get either one of those guys, obviously do it, right? But so it's not like Edmonton's having a bad game right now. They got 21 shots on goal. There are 4 minutes left in the second period. They're peppering them, and this is just good goaltending, man. It can carry you. It can carry you to the end.
Yeah, I'd agree with every word you said, and I'd say this might be the number one goalie tandem right now in the league. These two guys are just lighting it up. Doesn't matter who's got the pipes; they're getting a win. So hats off to them. And yeah, Edmonton, they've got to. I won't say this is this is a must win, but it's not a can't lose. How about that? They got to get it together. They got to get one of those pucks in the net, even though they're against this wall, as you said. He is a wall, but I don't know. The Oilers are they're at least closer to a wild card spot, but we'll see.
Yeah, currently 11-10-5, right? 27 points in 26 games there as well. Not good enough for a playoff spot. Now they're a -14, and so it's not because they can't score the puck. It's because they can't stop it, and they've actually given up, it appears, if not the most goals in the league, close to the most goals in the league there. Aaron, it's been a great show tonight. JT had the night off. We've actually had some other existing co-hosts that have actually come on. Our brother Gail Clark's actually been on. John Martinez actually been on. We're going to have some more guests actually on here in the next upcoming weeks. I'm super excited. We're about halfway through the fantasy season. In our main home league, it's a war right now. It's an absolute war. Yeah. I'm 4-4 in that league. I've been scored on the most in the league. I've scored the second most points. My guys in the locker room, they're pretty pissed about it. We talked about it as a team. We threw over a couple Gatorade tables and stuff like that. We made a mess of the visitors' locker room the other night. So we apologize about that. But when you actually lose after putting up 300 points in a week and you get scored on by 370, something's got to give. So, but hey, go Blackhawks tonight. Let's hope that everybody has great fantasy weeks, and we will definitely see everybody next week. Thank you for joining tonight.